Okay, let's finish up this TV wall. Ah! No! Come on, I am working in a tropical storm. There we go, now my sound is recording me. Hey guys, what's up and welcome to my channel. This week, you guessed it, I am continuing on with my living room and entryway makeover. You guys are gonna have to get used to me saying that because we've got a few months to go on this project. If you're new to my channel, I have been tackling my living room and entryway makeover for a few months now, and this is part 4? Yeah, this is part 4 of this makeover, so if you haven't seen the other 3 parts or even all of the projects and videos leading up to this makeover, I highly recommend going and checking out some of those videos. And personally, I think you can watch this series in whatever order you want to watch it in because I planned it out so that each video is a standalone project that just all happens to be for the same space. And this week, I am gonna be finishing up my TV wall. So far, this has kind of been the main focus of this makeover, and now that the trim around the doors is done, my TV is hung up, cord-free, and framed out. The final project that I have planned for this TV wall is adding some box molding. So with all of that being said, let's get into it and let's finish this TV wall. So if you are a person that did not see my design video leading up to this makeover, in that video I talked through a few different options that I was tossing around in different areas of this room, and my TV wall was one of those areas where I was tossing around 2 different options. Option 1 was box molding, which obviously is the option I went with, and then option 2 was just doing a chair rail piece and then incorporating my now framed TV into a gallery wall. And a comment I saw a lot on that design video was, don't go with a gallery wall because it will be too busy and pull focus away from your built-ins. And I totally agree. That is like the main reason I decided to scrap the gallery wall idea. And beyond knowing the gallery wall wasn't the right option, there was a ton of reasons why I knew box molding was the right option. The first reason I absolutely love the box molding is because of what it's going to do to this wall. It's gonna add a ton of interest to this wall. Over on this half of the wall, there's a lot going on, but the second we get beyond this table, it's just kind of like a big blank white wall. So I feel like the trim going across this whole wall is gonna really balance out this half of the wall. Also, I like that the trim is going to break up this wall. There is a bit of a new addition to my living room, and that is this bench. I found this bench at Goodwill for $18.99, and I scooped it up so fast. I didn't have a plan of where I was gonna use it in my house, but I just brought it inside and set it against this wall, and I slowly but surely have fallen in love with this bench being over here. Because I don't really have a traditional entryway where I have space to put a bench where you can like sit and put your shoes on, I feel like this bench over here kind of adds that to my entryway. Also, I like that I could easily pull this bench over and it adds additional seating and all of that stuff. So I feel like the box molding is gonna help kind of separate out this wall from my living room side of the wall to my entryway side of the wall. And the final and main reason for the box molding is because it's another visual aid, drawing your eye up and making the space feel or seem as big as it possibly can. Most of the decisions I have made thus far in this makeover is to just make this space feel or seem as big as it possibly can. So this is why I painted the walls white. This is why I made sure the crown molding and the baseboards were painted that same white. This is why I added craftsman style trim to the doorways. And also in the first place, this is why I switched out my built-ins and brought them all the way up to the ceiling. So I know this box molding is going to be like the final thing that, like, no matter where you look, there's gonna be something drawing your eye up and making the space feel or seem as big as I possibly can get it. So the thing that I have to do now is actually plan out this trim. Beyond knowing I'm doing box molding, there's a lot of different options I can go with. So I first have to figure out how many boxes I'm going with. Do I want to keep all of the boxes the same size across this wall? How do I want to break up the space? All of that fun stuff. So let me grab my iPad and let's plan out and calculate out this trim. So I forgot to mention that not only am I doing box molding on my TV wall, but I'm also gonna add one box to the wall behind me where my slatted feature wall used to be. Within those slatted boards, I also had hooks, and those hooks were kind of like a coat rack where I could hang my purses and my jackets, and I desperately need to get a coat rack back up because not having one recently has been very annoying. So a few months ago, I found a wood wall coat rack thrifting. So I wanna frame out that coat rack with some trim. And I think it's gonna look really nice. So I just need to also make sure I calculate out that trim and add it into all of the trim that I need for this TV wall. Before I start taking measurements and doing all of that stuff, I just wanna see what visually is gonna make the most sense for this wall. In an ideal world, these boxes would line up like perfectly and break up the TV wall and then this like bench area, but I'm just not sure. So I quickly took a picture of this wall, and I feel like this picture really highlights how unbalanced this wall looks, where there's all this stuff going on the left-hand side and nothing going on the right-hand side. And in my 3D renderings, I have, I think, 5 boxes, but I just wanna make sure that that is actually what I want to do. And the first thing I do know for sure that I'm doing is a chair rail piece. So I'm just gonna draw that in really quickly. I think that's where I want the chair rail piece, something like that. Now, my question is, even though I have 5 in my original plans, do I maybe wanna do 4 boxes? Because then that would have 2 boxes for the TV side of the wall and then 2 boxes for this entryway side to the wall. Okay, so I just tried out 4 boxes and I actually do like that. Obviously my drawing isn't like perfectly measured out and equal for the boxes, but it just gives me an idea of what it looks like. And I feel like it does break up the wall nicely and frame out the TV side, and then like kind of like an empty box breaking up the 2 spaces. So what I think I'm gonna do is just quickly take some measurements of this wall so that I can make sure what I have drawn out is like actually going to work out, and like what the measurements for the boxes would be. Okay, that's 160, like right on the money. Okay, I'm just gonna see what this looks like with 7 inches in between all of the boxes. So 160 minus 35 equals 125. Now we divide that by 4, and then that would make it so that each box is 31.25 inches wide. So if I put this right here, the first box would end right here, and then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then the next box would end here. And I feel like I also could like shimmy the table and the TV a few inches over so that like the TV is centered between the 2 boxes. Okay guys, so I have decided I'm officially going with 4 boxes instead of 5. Really thought I was gonna go with 5, but I just really like how the 4 breaks up the wall. So I'm going to quickly calculate out how much trim I need. No, come on. Okay, my playing field vertically is 87. I am gonna do 4 inches between all of these. so that we're just nice and even. Make it simple. So it's kind of hard to calculate out exactly what the bottom box height is going to be and the top box height is going to be because I don't know where I'm gonna put the chair rail piece, and I also don't know how thick the chair rail piece is going to be. But right now I just have it set so that the chair rail piece is 3 inches, and so overall the height is going to be 68 inches for the vertical height. I just don't know exactly how that's gonna be split up, but I still can take this measurement and figure out how much trim I need. 31.25 times 16 is 500 inches. So then I'm gonna take 500 plus 544 and divide that by 12 and then divide that by 8. So I need roughly 11 pieces of trim for this wall, plus the chair rail. Probably 2 pieces for the chair rail. Okay, 48, right on the money. So I have to get 3 extra pieces of the trim I use for the boxes for this wall behind me, and then I have to get 1 extra piece of the chair rail trim. So that brings my total to 14 pieces for the box trim and 3 pieces for the chair rail trim. So let me head to Lowe's and grab all that stuff. Okay, so I think the first thing we need to do is pick out trim that's like the chair rail piece, and then we can go from there. Okay, so I have looked all around, and obviously when you have to get a lot of trim, it can add up pretty quickly. If you only have to get a few pieces, it's like fine, but when you have to get 14 pieces and then 3 pieces, it can add up quickly. So this is technically, I think, like a baseboard piece, but it's a pack and it's only $27. And it's like the cheapest option I can find, and it'll still work as a chair rail piece. So let's get it. Okay, and I'm pretty sure I already saw the trim I want to use for the box molding, which is right here, and it's $8.58 a piece, which will add up to roughly like 120 bucks for all of the trim. So let's get 14. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I'm gonna get an extra piece just in case. Okay, let us go. Okay guys, so I got everything I need to do this project, so I will see you guys in the morning. Good morning guys. I know you probably can't tell, but it is very doomy and gloomy today. I am working in a tropical storm. At least that's what I think is above me right now, because it has been raining for like 2 solid weeks, and it's gonna rain like the rest of the week. But that's okay, I have my tent, so I shouldn't really be affected by the rain too much. Also, I woke up today and realized I do not like the trim I picked out to use for the chair rail. So I got online and I started looking at a bunch of different pictures of trim, and I came across one picture where they did a very similar configuration as to like what I am doing, and for their chair rail piece, they use the same trim as the box trim. So I decided I am going to do that. So I returned that other trim and I went and got 3 more pieces of the box trim. And speaking of chair rail pieces, those are the first few pieces I need to get installed, because once I get that installed, I can determine how tall the bottom boxes and the top boxes need to be. So I'm gonna quickly get these first few pieces cut down, get them installed, and calculate out these boxes. So I have 2 chair rail pieces cut down. This piece is for the wall that used to have the slatted boards, and then this piece is for the TV wall. I think I'm gonna go inside and get this piece installed so that I can double check the measurement for the second piece I need to cut for the TV wall. Yeah, let's do it. I kind of wanted the chair rail to go behind the table. I mean, if I want it to go behind the table, it's gotta be at 32. Okay, cool. Get this nice and level. First piece done. Let's get the second one installed. Yeah, 65. Okay, so now I can get this final chair rail piece connected or cut down. And I started the chair rail on the right-hand side of the wall so that the seam is behind the table. Also, I did a beveled cut on the seam side because if I have 2 beveled cuts meeting up, it's gonna create a nicer connection than a straight cut. So let's get this cut down. 65 inches. Okay, my brain's not working, so I'm gonna do a miter cut and just flip this up on its side. I hope this works out. If not, I've got extra. Cool beans. Now I can calculate out these boxes. I don't have my phone, but I think I can do some simple math. Let's do this. Okay, so this opening from the top of the base board to the bottom of this chair rail piece is 27.5. So if I minus 8 inches, these boxes are gonna be 19.5 inches tall. Great. Let me write that down. That's at 58 inches, so we minus 8 inches for the spacing, 50 inches. Cool, let me figure out how many pieces I need to cut down. Okay guys, so I have my measurements, I've got my cut list, and now I can get to work cutting down all of this trim. And I'm just gonna go ahead and get everything cut down. I'm not gonna worry about getting certain pieces cut down to work around certain features on the wall, like my TV bracket or an outlet. I'm just gonna get everything cut down all at once, and then as I get pieces installed, if I have to make special cuts to work around features, I'll just come back out here and get those cut down and then run back inside and get them installed. So let's get to work. So in my last video, I got a question asking how I get such nice miter cuts and how my corners match up so nicely. They were asking about the frame that I built for around my TV. And first off, I do take my miter cuts really nice and slow. I double, triple check my measurements. And also my miter saw does have a laser, which really makes it nice and easy to get really precise 45-degree angle cuts. Also, when I cut my first piece at whatever length I'm cutting it at, I mark that piece as my first piece, and I use that first piece as a template for all of the other pieces I have to cut at that length. So for example, this is my first piece that I cut that is 31.25 inches. I put a big old 1 on it, and now I'm gonna use this piece to get all of my 31.25 pieces cut down. A lot of people would probably recommend not doing that, but I always find I get a really good result when I do that. So it works for me. Line that up right with the laser. And now I have my second piece. 14 more to cut out. Hi, baby. He's a big boy. Okay guys, I have all of my pieces cut down and I'm gonna work on getting all of my bottom pieces attached. And I went ahead and cut 2 pieces using a scrap piece of wood. This piece is 4 inches and this piece is 7 inches. These are my vertical and horizontal spacings between all of the trim and the boxes. So instead of measuring, I can just use these pieces to get everything attached. So I am gonna go ahead and get started with my first box. I think I need to grab some sandpaper and sand the corners. Oopsies. Check if it's level. That is a very nice matchup. Perfect. Okay, 1 box is done, 4 more to go. What do I want to do with this piece? It's technically kind of covering that up, but only by a little bit. I think I'll leave it how it is. Okay, this is my first piece I have to get cut down. Mark this out right about, we'll go a little above. Notch it out. These 2 pieces outside and quickly get them cut down. Yeah, a little funky, but okay, I have all of my bottom trim done. Now I'm just gonna rinse and repeat the process with all of the top trim. Yay! All done. There we go. Now my sound is recording me. Good morning, guys. It is time to finish up this trim and finish up this TV wall. So last night, after I finished getting all of the pieces attached, I went ahead and did my cleanup work. So I took spackle and I filled in all of the nail holes with spackle, and I also filled in the corners with spackle if there was like any slight gaps. I have seen people use wood filler for this step. I personally don't like to use wood filler because if you're gonna paint wood filler, I find that it has like a grainy look, and spackle has like a nice smooth look and it sands down nice and smooth. Also, after I filled in all of the corners and the nail holes, I went around all of the edges of the trim, both the inside and outside of the box, with caulk. So now that all of that has been sitting and drying overnight, I can sand the spackle and get to painting, and that will finish up this TV wall and part 4 of my living room and entryway makeover. Let's do it! And done. Woo! And that is it, guys. I knew this box molding was the missing piece to my TV wall, and now this part of my living room feels complete. Well, except for the fact that I now have to reupholster that bench, but we'll get to that in another video. And now that this box trim is all done, I now know for sure this was the right call between the 2 options, because had I gone with the gallery wall, it would have kept everything still on the left-hand side of the wall and there'd be nothing going on the right-hand side of the wall. Whereas having this trim really does balance out this wall, and it just makes it so that there's at least something going on the right-hand side of the wall, even if it is just white trim on a wall. And as I work my way through all of these different projects, this room is slowly transforming into my favorite space in my entire house, and it feels so good to finally have this room slowly but surely turn into the space I always wanted it to be. And if there's one thing I want you guys to take away from this series, is that you don't have to tackle everything all at once. You can just like slowly chip away at a space until it becomes the room or the space of your dreams. So I hope you guys liked this video and project. As always, thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye guys.